Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. I got the Bitcoin chart up right now, guys. Bitcoin trading at $20,100, so still hovering above that $20,000 mark. You guys can see it has been creating a nice base for support in and around here, $20,000. Other than that pop that we saw earlier this week, we really haven't seen, though, too much action for Bitcoin. Let me throw it on the hourly here. You guys can see after that move up, Bitcoin is now coming back down what is looking like a head and shoulders pattern for the king currency. I guess we'll see if it will create another shoulder, that second shoulder. And if it does keep going down, again, this is on the 1 hour. So, the micro trend not looking so great. The macro trend, though, not too bad. The other thing I want to talk about is XRP. Price for XRP hovering at around 45.8, so about 46 cents. And with regards to XRP, also just maintaining localized support right now. So the support that we saw back in here, old resistance back from May of this year is now forming new support. So it is staying above these levels, but no real big sweeping activity. I mean, even volume is fairly low in general on the charts. We aren't seeing the kind of euphoria that we saw back in late 2020 throughout the first half of 2021. So volume and the euphoria, that has really died down. I mean, this could be a spark of what is yet to come. When that pendulum swings to the upside, this is when most people get really excited. I think it's best demonstrated on the Bitcoin chart. When we start to see that change, the pendulum switch, and I mean, this was a black swan event. So if you take this out of the equation, we really started the uptick in the last bull run in and around here with, periods of sideways trading and then new highs, higher highs, so on and so forth, until next thing you know, we are at the top of a bull market. So right now we're just basing, again, forming that double bottom, and XRP right now following along with the rest of the market. Meanwhile, Ripple has released their third quarter report, guys, and Brad Garlinghouse, he just recently posted this below 50%, a huge milestone. For 10 years, Ripple has been focused on using XRP and the XRPL within our products for its speed, security, and scalability for movement of value. As more customers use XRP in their payment flows, it's clear there is real utility here. So just retweeting out the Ripple market report in the latest XRP market report, we discuss Ripple's holdings now below 50% of the total supply of XRP, the state of global crypto regulation, macroeconomic moves, and on-demand liquidity continued domination. So that is big. People are saying that Bitcoin maxis even now have to change their narrative, like Bill at Balisarius 2020. The Bitcoin maxis and XRP haters will need to recalibrate their FUD from saying Ripple owns more than 50% of the XRP supply / most of the XRP to say Ripple owns more XRP than any other party. But, as Bill points out here, that doesn't really make a difference. Neither set of facts makes the XRPL centralized or XRP a security, and I think that is what's really important here. Ripple explains in the report why, despite its ownership, it does not control the XRP ledger. So just a bit here from the report. Across Ripple's various wallets, the amount of XRP held for the first time is below 50 billion or 50% of the total outstanding supply. As we know, it's 100 billion coins. Critics have pointed to the company's XRP ownership as an indicator that the XRP ledger is controlled by Ripple, and this is just not true. The XRP ledger, or XRPL, uses federated Byzantine consensus to validate transactions, add new features, and secure the network, which means that each validator node gets one vote, regardless of how much XRP they own. Ripple currently operates 4 out of the 130 plus validator nodes on the XRPL. So out of the 130 nodes, Ripple owns 4. Let's just do some quick math here, just to show you guys how many that actually is. 3%, just over 3% of all the voting power. And so that number has decreased over the years. So clearly not a centralized blockchain, certainly not a centralized power structure held by Ripple. So all good things to note, and things that I think people or critics should be paying attention to in particular. Guys, I will link the Q3 2022 XRP markets report in the description of the video, just to kind of highlight some of this, some notable takeaways. Ripple's XRP holdings now below 50%, as I'd mentioned. On-demand liquidity did go live in Brazil, a key market for the Latin American corridor. And total XRP sales by Ripple and net of purchases were 310.68 million versus about 408.9 million US dollars the previous quarter. So that is the other thing also brought up here by Anders. All Ripple XRP sales are connected to ODL. No programmatic sales are conducted or have been conducted, And as Ripple did mention in previous reports, they have stopped those programmatic sales. So just sales for ODL purposes only. Disciplined, responsible stakeholders, okay? Q3 sales and purchases last quarter. Total XRP sales by Ripple net of purchases were about 310.68 million versus the 408.9 million the previous quarter. Ripple has continued to sell XRP only in connection with ODL transactions, and ODL volumes have ramped up as Ripple's ODL business expanded globally, as has been the case since Q4 of 2019. So they have continued this journey and been able to stay on track since Q4 of 2019, making sure the ODL businesses have grown and the programmatic sales have ceased. So Ripple did not conduct programmatic sales and has no plans to do so going forward. So that's just the updated news there. Carmen Calhoun down here saying, I don't believe XRP will be relisted. Here's an interesting thought. Ripple is buying from exchanges, and if they've never sold and don't plan to sell to exchanges, makes me think I better be buying more XRP. Well, I mean, I do think they will eventually be relisted on exchanges in the United States. I think the clarity is really the biggest issue here. Shazi PTO saying, sometimes I feel as if XRP was sold to retail solely to build the ODL for the cross-border payments, and the price won't ever increase until the overall market cap does, giving it similar gains to the rest of the top 25 coins. And all the conspiracy theories surrounding XRP is just marketing. Yeah, I don't think so, buddy. I'm sorry, but just not buying that. My Mickey down here saying no plan to do programmatic sales. It means no more XRP will be released for retailers. So we got to understand, if ODL really takes off, and I mean, it has been, it sounds like, I mean, it is, over the years, ODL has just grown and grown and grown. So you got to think to yourself, the more companies and the more businesses that see a benefit in utilizing on-demand liquidity are going to require more XRP to do this. And if they just can't get the XRP, the price will definitely go higher, which could put us in a position to be the market makers for that liquidity. So, you know, guys, this is the thing. Holding XRP long-term is likely going to be better for us than selling it in a spec market in the short term. And that is not to say not to sell your XRP until 589 or whatever it is. Always take profits along the way, even just looking at the technical analysis here. And, you know, if we get buyer and seller psychology right here, and when we do see another boom in the crypto market, you know, an XRP worth about $7.45, making a full Fibonacci would not be unreasonable. I've even done videos where, you know, certain coins have outperformed, and we found that even if we line up the 0.236 here at the top of the trend and bringing the Fibonacci down to the bottom here, we have seen coins totally outperform. And in this case, if this were the case, that would bring XRP up to a $30.46 price. So definitely not out of the cards, not saying it's going to happen for sure, but it certainly is a possibility, considering the perfect storm that is brewing with regards to cryptocurrency and the SEC lawsuit. Everything, guys, has to fall in place. Merlin the Wizard here posting this, okay, interesting with regards to the government's position in the UK to start legislating stablecoins. The least volatile coins likely will be used as intermediaries as a settlement currency. So, guys, this coming out of the UK. UK stablecoin rules approved by lawmaker committee. UK lawmakers agreed on the new rules for stablecoins on Thursday as the government promised to consult on further crypto regulation and a digital pound in the coming weeks. So back in April, Rishi Sunak, who is now the PM of the UK, at the time he was the finance minister, but since promoted to prime minister, said he wanted to make the UK a hub for crypto. Lawmakers are now poring over government proposals to regulate stablecoins, which are cryptocurrencies that seek and maintain their value against the pound or the US dollar. So the US is not the only country that have been wanting to focus their efforts and their resources on regulating stablecoins first, and then regulating the rest of the market after that. Okay, here's a quote. Certain crypto assets and distributed ledger technology could drive transformational changes in financial markets. This coming from recently appointed Economic Secretary of the Treasury, Andrew Griffith. And this is what he told the committee. He goes on to say, adding that there's also risks to consumers and financial stability. We wish to tentatively seize those opportunities, not fall behind other markets, but also proceeded in a cautious way. The government's position is to start with those most stable, least volatile coins, likely to be used by intermediaries as a settlement currency, and then we will go forward and consult from there. So that is the official statement, wanting to regulate the least volatile coins, the most stable. These tend to be pegged to fiat currencies. However, We know that the World Bank has also considered XRP and XLM to be considered stablecoins as well. So I'm not too sure if they would be classified, if they would be lumped into this category in terms of UK regulation. And if you guys didn't see the video I did on that, I will link it up here in the top right-hand corner for you just to get a bit more context to how the World Bank was thinking about XRP and XLM. But anyway, UK stablecoin rules approved. They are clearly putting priority on stablecoins as the US has. So to me, I'm looking at this, the world is in lockstep with regards to crypto regulatory clarity, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, it's a double-edged sword for so many reasons. Mac Attack XRP posting this, okay, Ripple General Counsel says SEC's own cop on the beat was talking after an embarrassingly bad performance. So Gary Gensler, not just under the microscope by the XRP community, but now he is being evaluated by his peers. So Stuart Alderati, Ripple's general counsel, has bashed the SEC over the recent publication of the OIG report. Earlier this month, Nicholas Padilla Jr., the SEC's acting inspector general, released a report about the agency's management and performance challenges under the leadership of Gary Gensler. And so we heard about that. We heard about these some of these statistics here. The number of rulemakings on the SEC's agenda increased by nearly 2/3 between 2017 and 2022. Staff attrition rose to 6.4%. From 3.8%. So during Gary Gensler's tenure, it's almost doubled, and it's the highest they've seen in the last decade. The SEC is hiring more temporary employees from other agencies who have little to no experience in rulemaking. So all these criticisms here, and I guess I should also mention this too, just talking about staff attrition. Another senior SEC attorney exits for private practice. So Eleanor Turret just also posting this with regards to Jennifer Songer. She spent the last year serving as policy council chair to Gary Gensler, and now she's leaving. So this press release just from the other day, just from a couple of days ago, Paul Weiss, Rifkin, Wharton, and Garrison LLP announced today that Jennifer Songer, former policy counsel at the SEC, has joined the firm as counsel in the private funds group of the corporate department. Ms. Songer, who will be a resident in Washington, D.C., will focus on a wide range of legal, regulatory, and compliance matters for major global investment firms. So just another example of another employee from the SEC leaving the SEC and moving to private practice. Conspira XRP theorist down here writing, she used to work under Dahlia Blass during the Clinton-Hinman era. Dahlia's husband just so happens to work for Simpson Thacher, who happened to work for Hinman during the Alibaba IPO. So another connection there, a lot of interesting connections actually. I will link this in the description of the video if you guys are interested in reading further. That just more as a side note, because this publication, this was in the Wall Street Journal. Okay, here's the original Stuart Alderati tweet. And again, guys, I must reiterate, the SEC, this is a report from the SEC's own Inspector General, and he's throwing Gary Gensler under the bus. Gary Gensler's bad performance review, okay? Again, a mainstream publication, the Wall Street Journal. Businesses have been warning that the SEC's Gary Gensler's fast and furious regulation could cause damage across the economy. Now, agency officials and Democratic senators are raising alarms too. So here just kind of talked a little bit about the breakneck speed at which Gensler was trying to implement rules, regulations, changes. Some believe that the more aggressive agenda, particularly as it relates to high-profile rules that significantly impact external stakeholders, potentially limits the time available for staff research and analysis and increases litigation risk. This could also be the reason why the Ripple SEC case is going so well for us and so poorly for them. They're moving at breakneck speed, and they really just don't have the time and the resources to properly do the research. And, you know, this is why it is falling apart. We talked a little bit about the attrition rate. Also troubling, the SEC is hiring more temporary employees. We talked a little bit about that. The IG also skewers the agency for failing to maintain a firewall between its agency enforcement arm, which brings legal actions, and its adjudication arm, which rules on the actions. The distinction is crucial to provide due process for defendants. The SEC has not yet disclosed the full impact the internal control deficiency has caused on cases. The IG writes, the agency would done a public company guilty if a comparable lack of internal records. Democrats in Congress must be hearing from constituents about Gensler's drive-by regulations. So just another comment on that. Mr. Gensler's breakneck rulemaking is no doubt intended to get ahead of GOP congressional oversight in 2023, and especially from the risk of repeal under the Congressional Review Act if Republicans win the White House and Congress in 2024. So perhaps a bit of a strategy, knowing that the writing is on the wall, knowing that they are failing miserably politically. Democrats, I mean, I don't want to make this channel about politics, but I'm thinking that that's what they're thinking, and this is why Gary Gensler is doing what he's doing, but that's no justification for slipshod management and rulemaking that harms financial markets. So who is caught in the crossfire? Obviously, we are. Not only that, guys, I should also mention this, okay, from James K. Filan, just pointing this out, and Stuart Alvarado actually pointed it out as well. On the SEC's OIG report, they concluded that not only is Gensler just basically a shit show, there is uncertainty, okay, whether the SEC even has jurisdiction over cryptocurrency. So can you imagine if this was all for naught? Can you imagine if somebody finally turned around to the SEC and said, oh, you know what, all this crypto stuff, you don't have jurisdiction over this. So how about you turn around and walk this way and go do tasks over here? I think that would be one of the biggest WTF moments in regulatory history. SEC should have never sued Ripple in the first place, obviously, says XRP Crypto Wolf. Uneffing believable, says Kiki LaRue. But Conspira XRP Theorist says, there's no walking back now. Finish it. With or without jurisdiction, Ripple has walked through the fire, and a decision will hold weight regardless who has jurisdiction. This might actually be the first case where we see such a misstep on so many fronts. Ripple getting the clarity it needs, the XRP token getting the clarity it needs, that opening the door for other cryptocurrencies and crypto companies to really start building into performing, innovating in the United States. XRP will obviously be that trailblazer, and this is why, it is not out of the question to perhaps see XRP go up to double digits in this next bull run. Again, it's going to be a perfect storm event. I think we will likely build on that momentum. I think that, a bull run is around the corner, and I do think that with clarity plus a bull run, we could see something like this. We could definitely see not only XRP hit a typical Fibonacci, but perhaps even outperforming and seeing even higher highs. Now, Crypto Law here, apropos of the Wall Street Journal editorial on Gary Gensler this morning and his defenders who say criticism of him are overblown. We'll just leave this here from 2-Bit Idiot Ryan Selkis here to make everything clear as day. Ryan Selkis on the SEC, listen to this.
Very simple, common sense, move the needle type stuff that could help, I think, the entire country without throwing out this entirely new innovative sector where DeFi, NFTs, some of these other alternative blockchains, other distributed networks, they're less than 2 years old, right? So the conversation that we're having right now, if you want to go back to the 90s, is Bill Gates spent a lot of time down here. Microsoft spent a lot of time down here in the 90s. Would we have been better off as a country, would the world have been better off if Microsoft was the one that was dictating policy? And that was ultimately the only game in town. You had to go to Congress or you had to go to a regulator to get permission to innovate in some of these areas. And what you'll hear is pushback sometimes, which I want to refute, is, well, if you don't have oversight over the DeFi markets or you leave this, that, and the other loophole, it's just going to be a game of regulatory whack-a-mole, and that's why we have to get the definitions right and have full oversight of these systems. The problem is that the regulators today are not playing regulatory whack-a-mole. They're full-on Bill Murray, Caddyshack, blowing up the golf course. And ultimately, that's going to be the difference between the U.S. leading in finance and tech for the next couple decades or us falling behind.
Basically stating with that analogy, I love the Caddyshack Bill Murray analogy, that the people in charge of the regulatory clarity today in the United States just have no idea. They have no clue, and they should have a clue. I mean, Gary Gensler did work at MIT. He was a professor there, and he was talking about cryptos like XRP. It felt like he had a firm grasp on, the concepts. So, begs the question, the choices he's making, political moves, probably. Corruption, definitely. But is this going to be resolved, and what's it going to mean for XRP hodlers? Well, guys, I saw this, a quick little clip here from Wheezy at Nerd Nation Unboxed. 38 seconds of Ashish Burla. Wheezy posts this, okay, we are close. Regulation is in the final piece. XRP will have that clarity soon. Then the institutional floods will be released.
And listen, for institutionals to come into this space, which I think is like the next thing that is going to happen here, the U.S. has to come out with a digital asset framework. And I think they've been slow to get out there and be proactive there. And whereas the UK has come out with the token framework, which is great. Singapore really friendly towards fintechs and also crypto companies. You're seeing a lot of action and development there. And so I think like that is the last thing that I think needs to happen before we have, you know, real big institutional adoption.
So the last thing that we need before the real big institutional adoption, according to Ashish Birla of Ripple, is the clarity, guys, and then the big money will flow in. So a $30 XRP looking more and more likely? I certainly think so, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.